Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're deconstructing a really fascinating and timeless fable about a pond, a group of restless amphibians, and the, well, sometimes disastrous consequences of getting exactly what you wish for. We're going to unpack a story that might sound like a simple children's tale right off the bat, but actually holds a highly relevant psychological lesson about human, or in this case, frog nature. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever found yourself in a perfectly fine, totally comfortable situation, but just because you were lacking stimulation, you decided to shake things up? I mean, how often does our overwhelming desire to escape a little bit of boredom lead us straight into an absolute disaster? That is the core theme of the story we're breaking down today. Section 1, an alien storyteller. So, before we even get to the frogs, we've got to look at the highly unique framing device of our source material, because the narrator of this fable, it isn't your standard wise old owl or a village elder. No, it's an alien named Gugu. Now, Gugu has arrived in a forest where the local animals are currently very unhappy with their leader, the Lion King, and they're actively plotting to replace him. To impart some cosmic wisdom on this whole situation, Gugu decides to tell them a story. The text actually introduces Gugu with this charmingly bizarre rhyme. I am an alien, I'm everyone's friend. Whichever world I go, I just plan. All languages I speak, no doubt, I'm so unique. I listen to their stories, I share some of mine, and when I gain some knowledge, my antenna shines. I love that. It establishes the exact tone of the source material. It's playful, it's disarming, which honestly makes the rather dark turn of the fable he's about to tell those forest animals that much more impactful. Section 2, the burden of boredom. Right, so Gugu begins his story by transporting his audience to a pond where these frogs have essentially won the survival lottery. This isn't a pond fraught with danger or scarcity. Not at all. They're all friends, they live peacefully, and they have an absolute abundance of food to eat. But, as we all know, having everything you need doesn't exactly guarantee satisfaction. Just look at the reality versus the problem here. As time went by, there was simply no activity. The irony here is just so thick. They have everything required to survive and thrive. But because they lack external entertainment, they're overwhelmed by this sense of boredom. They're constantly talking to each other about how to beat this boredom, basically desperately seeking a solution to a completely manufactured problem.
The tipping point arrives when one frog has an idea and calls a massive meeting. Once everyone's gathered, he pitches his grand solution. If they only had a king, that king would somehow know exactly how to entertain them. And amazingly, all the other frogs agree. Because, nothing screams fun and entertainment quite like establishing a monarchy, right? They are completely on board with this absurd logic. The oldest frog among them, though, advises that if they truly want a king, they must pray for one.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the exact mechanics and the escalation of their collective prayer, as detailed in the source text. In step 1, they pray for a full day, but see absolutely no results. So they escalate. By step 2, on the second day, they decide to pray more sincerely, ensuring every single frog is praying together in unison. And then step 3. By the next morning, a giant log of wood suddenly falls right over their pond.
Section 3, the disappointing log king.
When that log falls, the frogs are initially ecstatic. They genuinely believe that the heavens have opened up and God has directly answered their incredibly sincere prayers. They are convinced this piece of wood is the regal leader sent to cure them of their tedious, peaceful existence. They literally wait an entire day in eager anticipation to see what radical, exciting changes their new king will bring. But the reality of the log king is incredibly mundane. It just floats. It cannot jump like they can. It brings absolutely zero changes to their daily routine. After investigating it up close, they realize their new monarch is ultimately of absolutely no use whatsoever to their primary goal of being entertained. And this brings us to the frog's fatal flaw. They are thoroughly disappointed. But instead of realizing that a harmless, lifeless log is actually a perfectly safe outcome, instead of just accepting the log and going back to their peaceful, food-filled lives, their disappointment drives them right back to their original bad idea. They feel bad that the king is useless, so they collectively pray for a new king. It's a completely absurd choice that totally ignores how good they actually have it.
Section 4, the fatal stork king.
Be careful what you wish for, right? Especially the second time around. The very next day, after their renewed prayers, a stork flies over their pond. The frogs look up, see this massive bird, and excitedly assume that this must finally be the true king that was meant for them all along.
And this brilliantly illustrates the tragic contrast between what the frogs thought they wanted and what they actually needed. The Log King was harmless. Sure, it couldn't jump and it was incredibly boring, but hey, it left them in peace. The Stork King, on the other hand, provides exactly the kind of visual stimulation they craved. They're totally mesmerized by its elegant wings and its beautiful beak. What they fail to realize in their blind excitement is that those beautiful features belong to an active, deadly predator.
The source text actually gives us a terrifying glimpse into the stork's internal thought process, as the enthusiastic frogs eagerly approach it. To the stork, quote, "It had suddenly turned out to be a lucky day. It isn't looking to rule, it's looking for breakfast." Recognizing a pond full of willing, approaching prey, the stork immediately starts flying over them, catching them one by one, and eats absolutely all of them. The frog's desire for action was fulfilled, but at the cost of their entire existence. Let's see how this builds and map out how quickly this tragic arc escalated. We start at a completely peaceful pond, transition to unjustifiable boredom, prompting a desire for change, reject a perfectly harmless log because it doesn't cure that boredom, invite an exciting stork, and end up at total destruction where every single frog is eaten. It's a really stark visualization of how quickly a perfectly good situation can collapse when you unnecessarily invite chaos. Section 5, the final moral lesson. Which brings the narrative back to our framing device. Gugu, the wise alien with the shining antenna, finishes telling this brutal story to the forest animals. Remember, he's speaking to a group of animals who are actively unhappy with their current leader, the Lion King, and are looking to replace him simply because they are dissatisfied. So, the crucial point is how Gugu finishes his story for the forest animals. A known devil is any day better than an unknown goddess. Gugu uses the fate of the frogs to urge the forest animals to reconsider their decision. Even if they have grievances with the lion, their known devil, replacing him with an unknown entity could easily bring about a beautiful but deadly stork that destroys them all. Which leaves us with this final thought to consider. Are you risking a peaceful reality just to cure a little boredom? The source material uses frogs, lions, and an alien to highlight a very real human tendency. We often take stability for granted, We mistake a lack of drama for a problem that needs fixing. So the next time you feel the urge to shake up a perfectly good situation just because you're feeling a bit restless, remember the frogs, the log, and the elegant, deadly stork. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.